But Oklahoma did expand their lead. Now 143.2 to 142.6. That's a fairly comfortable lead.
And we start with Oklahoma on the floor. Stephanie Castillo will start it off.
With the tuck double back. Just a little stutter step on the landing. You can really see in the collegiate floor routines that they really go for crowd appeal, entertainment value. Front tuck, we do it back with a full twist.
Stephanie, one of the captains of this Oklahoma team.
She really plays an important role for this team, not only as captain, but leading off on several of the events. It's a very important job.
She is a senior. Her freshman year was a tough one for her because she missed most of the year because of a knee injury.
It's her last tumbling run. Back with a full twist.
This, by the way, is the first year that she's competed without a knee brace, so she ends her routine.
Very nice routine. Not packed full of difficulty. The most difficult run was the first one. A tuck double back.
And a look at that first run by Stephanie.
Now you can see she gets pretty good lift, but really has to pull it around.
And from there we move to the final tumbling round.
And she just finished with a full twist, but it was nice and clean, so she doesn't give away any form deductions. But really, to be competitive at nationals, they need to upgrade the difficulty in these routines. Because many of the top teams in the country are finishing their routines with double back somersaults.
And the score, 9.35 for Stephanie. And here's Stacy Schroeder from the University of Oklahoma. Stacy, just a freshman from Kingwood, Texas.
Pike double back. Oh, sits down on the landing. That's a fall. Half a point deduction. Begins to make that lead not look quite as comfortable.
By the way, there are 2 judges for each of these events.
They average the 2 scores to come up with the final score. Double twist for her middle tumbling run.
Stacy Schroeder, yeah.
As I said, though, for Oklahoma to really be competitive at nationals, some of their early routines in the lineup really needs a little bit more difficulty in the routine.
And here is the first tumbling run for Stacy.
Now she opened up with laid out double pike somersault. You can see she landed really low, really bent those knees, and then sat down.
And her score, 9.00. Now we move to the bars. Nebraska competing on the bars at the moment. And this is Shelley Pendley Cornhuskers.
And this is one of their top all-arounders. Moving quite nicely so far on the bars. Giant swing. The dismount. Full twisting Coleman each. It's actually a somersault with 1.5 twists. Done very, very well.
Congratulated by her head coach, Rick Walton. Shelley Henley finishing her work on the bars.
Her routine was a nice example of a gym that really shows off their strength and hides weaknesses. She's not overly physically strong, but she really picks moves that she does well, that are difficult, but well within her reach.
How difficult is it to compete the older you get? When you talk about college gymnastics, obviously by the time you become a senior, that's a lot of work in gymnastics over the years.
Well, it gets a little hard on your body. I used to jokingly say gymnastics years are like dog years. Each of them are worth about 7, at least on the joints. But there's a trade-off, because as you get older, you also gain more experience in competition. You get a little bit more polished in your movement, but also some of the harder skills get harder to learn. But I think that's what's most impressive about collegiate gymnastics now. They have really escalated the level of difficulty, the performance quality, and I just think it's really come a long way over the last 10 years.
You saw an inquiry as it related to her score. So
Well,
we await the decision there.
If the judges are out of line, meaning too far away in their scores, they'll come together and determine whether one of them missed a difficult element and was not given credit for.
And now Lisa McCready for Nebraska.
On one of her best events. Look at the straight body line. She moves very aggressively. Nice giant swing. Tuck double back dismount. No big release moves in there, but she moves very well, doesn't give away any form deductions. Just needs a little bit more difficulty to really get the big giant scores.
And indeed, one of her best events. She's the defending Big 8 champion on bars. And we move to the vault. This is the University of Missouri.
It's a very powerful laid-out suit. Needs a little bit more polish on the position, meaning straight legs, pointed toes, straight body.
And we will pause. We'll be back to the Hearn Center in just a moment. Of Missouri.
Julie, as we saw on the floor, is very, very powerful. Fast run. Handspring front tuck with a half twist. Look at the distance on that ball.
And that's what I was going to ask you. The distance from the apparatus to the landing is important, isn't it?
It's very important, but also the height from the horse, which she gave up a little bit of height for all that distance. I'd like to see her maybe land a little bit closer in, because she could afford to, and get a little more height.
And another look.
Would help the overall dynamics of the vault. You can see she tucks on the horse, though. That's a deduction. But it's a very difficult vault. It's worth a 10.0. She's a little off center there. All those are minor deductions. I think the biggest deduction will be on the pre-flight.
And Julie, of course, with 2 opportunities. This is her second vault.
Again, look at the speed into the horse. Much better. She directs it up a little bit more. Still gets great distance from the horse. The deduction, of course, will be slight bending of the knees on the pre-flight and a tiny little hop on the landing. But it's one of the most difficult vaults performed today.
And another look at this vault.
Here you can really see the position I'm talking about. She really should be straight as she makes contact with the horse. But boy, does she get up in the air. Should be a big score.
An impressive vault indeed for Julie Dorn. She likes it, so do her teammates. And a big score, 9.80 for Julie on the vault. move to the bars in Nebraska. Ida Lichtenstein is up next. Lichtenstein is a senior from Houston, Texas.
And it's really important, particularly for these top two teams here, to not let up, because you never know what's going to happen. Every 10th of a point counts. Reverse heck. Oh, she hits her leg on that low bar and caused her to have to turn out and change her whole routine. She is way off. It's probably what she should have done in the beginning. Just get off and start over. You can see the reverse heck was done very nicely, but she caught that one foot and it caused her to turn. And she didn't know what to do with it. She tried to cover up, but that's too hard to cover up there. Gymnast has 30 seconds to get back up and start the routine again.
Ida has been studying finance and accounting at Nebraska.
She's dismounted with a double back somersault. It'll be interesting to see that, because she actually didn't work on the low bar. When she had the little trouble, she did make contact with the low bar, but she didn't actually do a skill on the bar.
And you need to do one of those, at least.
It's questionable what they'll do with it, but the major mistake obviously was the fall.
And she's not happy, understandably, as she hit her foot and it seemed to disrupt the whole thing. Now we'll move to Monica Fields. She's on floor exercise. She's from Oklahoma.
Monica does an absolutely beautiful triple twist. One of the best performed triple twists I've seen. Very clean. That's music that I used once.
Oh,
I thought
really?
that sounded familiar. Oh, gosh, she did that so much better in warm-ups. That was her triple twist. She landed a little low, though.
Well, you were strong in all areas, but you particularly love dance and floor, didn't you?
I love floor exercise. This music is Ochi Chornya, or Dark Eyes. It's the only time I've ever heard it, except when I did it.
Outside the area, that would cost her.
She ends with a double twist. Very nice. It's funny because she has very beautiful lines, but she doesn't use them enough. She needs to put so much more into the movement and just make it bigger.
That's Monica Fields from OU. Oklahoma coming into the meet, the favorites, and they've done very well.